So, Star Wars Celebration has been underway over the last few days, and we just heard news that we can expect the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order to come out sometime next year, which is something I'm certainly excited about. So what I'm going to do in this video is go through the trailer that just released and point out some observations from the information they've dropped to help give you a better idea of what to expect from the game, or at the very least get your brain swirling a little bit over what direction they may end up going with. Of course, I've got some theories on that. But before we go there, let's start off by giving proper context and talk timeline. So the original Fallen Order is set in the year 14 BBY, which is 5 years after Episode 3 or Order 66, which all occurred during the year 19 BBY. So think of BBY chronologically in terms of years in BC. So the sequel, which is technically called Jedi Survivor, will take place 5 years after the original, which brings us to the year 9 BBY, which is the very year the Kenobi series that just came out this week takes place as well. Now, the trailer begins with the ship from the original game here, as you can see, and it apparently has just crash landed on this unknown planet, which we'll get back to in a minute. And we also see a sole trail of footsteps that is leading away from the ship as it's going down. And another thing I find interesting here is that there's no pilot and certainly no crew to be accounted for, so perhaps Cal is here flying the ship himself, meaning the dream team he had aside by the end of Fallen Order, for whatever reason, is no longer around. Furthermore, if Cal is in the ship at the time it's crashing, then perhaps these aren't his footsteps at all, and maybe there's a specific individual he's tracking, which is interesting because next we come across a mysterious dark side user. On with the Bacta tank here, and most importantly, who this individual might just be, which is certainly the fun part for me. But just keep in mind, this is all speculation. So if I had to guess, considering the title of the game, perhaps this could be a former Jedi who has previously been thought to be dead within canon up to this point at least. Alright, so let's say this is the case, then who would fit the bill here? Well, that would be no other than Kirak Infil'a. And the story behind him is that he was a Jedi Master during the final years of the Galactic Republic, but at some point in his career as a Jedi, he chose to take what's called the bearish vow, which is kind of like being dishonorably discharged, and it forbade him into interacting with the Jedi Order altogether. So he kind of went into exile, and since he wasn't an active member of the Jedi during Order 66, he was able to avoid being executed as a result. But sad case for him is that wouldn't last for long, because one of Vader's first objectives after the events of Episode 3 was to create a new lightsaber representing the dark side of the Force, which, according to Sidious, needed to be taken from a Jedi, and the kyber crystal from it must be corrupted and bent to the will of the dark side, ultimately converting it to the red color from its previous state. So this Kirak infil'a ended up becoming Vader's target for this objective. In the story from here is that Vader travels to the river moon of a planet called Alderaan, where Kirak resided, and ultimately murders him while seemingly snapping his neck, taking his lightsaber in the process. Alright, so back to the game. What if this planet that we crash on at the beginning of the trailer here isn't a planet at all, but actually is the very moon where Vader defeated Kirak 10 years ago? And the city that was destroyed in the wake of the battle, as you can see here, is exactly the view we see here in the distance. Now, what's interesting about Kirak infil'a is that he was actually quite powerful and initially defeated Vader during their first encounter, and it wasn't until Vader challenged him a second time and started tossing people around, like basically destroying everything in sight, that Vader was able to distract Kirak just enough to throw him off his guard and ultimately defeat him. So this could be kind of a cool angle they could take, but who knows? Either way, I'm just excited to see what they come up with, and if the game does come out on time, then 2023 should certainly shape out to be a pretty damn good year for games in general. But anywho, if you have any theories yourself, feel free to share your take down in the comments, and if you enjoy the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. This has been Mike, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace. Yeah.